This is a house of child sacrifice and murder. Wake up, repent. Get her out, Dad. Get her out. We can help. Free help. Wake up, Dad.
You don't have to do this. Planned Parenthood is not your only option.
I think we have seen the rhetoric rev up to a newer, higher, more vitriolic level.
I'm against abortion. And so somebody's got to be the voice and advocate for their freedom. You know, all pro-lifers are hopeful to an end to the Holocaust.
We're here in Colorado where the battle over abortion could help decide the next president of the United States. Colorado's a swing state that's historically been pro-choice, but that's been more and more under threat by the pro-life movement here. In November of last year, a gunman opened fire on the Planned Parenthood clinic in Colorado Springs, killing 3 people and injuring 9. Shooting intensified the ongoing battle over abortion between the pro-life and pro-choice communities of Colorado, riling up supporters on both sides. With these recent events forcing the issue to the forefront, abortion could play an important role in who people in Colorado back for president. With both leading Democratic presidential candidates taking a pro-choice stance, how's a Democrat to choose? We met up with some members of the Colorado Young Democrats to find out. Can you tell me a bit about how reproductive rights and issues around access to abortion factor into your thinking about the upcoming election?
For me, it's extremely important because when I look at it, this is going to be a time in the next couple of years where there's going to be major decisions coming down from the Supreme Court. We need to make sure that we're appointing a Supreme Court justice before the end of the Obama administration. And I look at all the attacks that are happening across the nation at the state level and knowing that it's so important that we keep people that are pro-choice in office. It's my number one issue in all elections, whether it's at the state level or at the federal level.
What is happening on a state and local level is so critical to politics every day because the regressions that are happening on a state level when it comes to impacting what a woman does with her body. Personally, that's why I'm a Sanders supporter, because I feel he galvanizes the youth a little bit, and it's not just, politics on a national level, it's politics on a local level.
I'm supporting Hillary Clinton because I'm a fan of her fierce pragmatism, but also because of the way that she sees the problem. So in particular with women's right to choose, across the country there were over 200 bills passed into law over the past, I think, 4 years that have sort of chipped away at women's reproductive rights. And so that's not something that the president can just stomp his feet and say you're not allowed to do that. It's a full process where a Democratic nominee has the power to raise money and raise awareness and work all the way down the ticket.
The issue is more than philosophical for Sonia Lujan. Can you tell me a bit more about what was going through your mind when you found out you were pregnant?
I was scared. That was my first reaction. I was upset. Just kind of shock, scared, disbelief generally of what I was going to do.
So what led you to Planned Parenthood?
Just to confirm that, I was pregnant. I wasn't sure, and just to kind of see what my options were. I knew that I could go there, judgment free. That day changed me forever because I didn't realize how harshly women were judged for making personal decisions like that.
And are you going to be caucusing on Tuesday?
Yes.
And who's your candidate of choice?
I'm feeling the burn. Regardless of, your personal beliefs of each candidate, ultimately you want to make sure that you're going to get a strong candidate for the Democrats. Abortion can't just be kind of legal. It either is or isn't, and we can't just keep up this pretense that it's legal, but in some parts it's impossible to actually get access to.
Outside Planned Parenthood in Denver, we came across Ken, one of the first people women encounter on their way into the clinic.
Ma'am, can we give you some literature? Free help? Free help where you can get free ultrasound, free pregnancy tests, free medical? Yeah, but they still kill innocent babies here. This is a house of child sacrifice and murder. Wake up, repent. Get her out, Dad. Get her out. We can help. Free help. Wake up, Dad.
Can you tell us a bit about the work that you do, and specifically about how you talk to women going into this clinic and perhaps redirect them to other services?
Okay, well, what we have is literature that we try to hand out so that we can tell them all the different agencies that'll help. The first thing is to offer literature, see if we can help them. And then we try to talk to them from the ladder.
It's not too late. You can still change your mind. You don't have to do this. Planned Parenthood is not your only option. There's free help less than a block away at the Lighthouse Women's Center. You don't need an appointment. Walk-ins welcome.
So in your opinion, who's the best candidate for president?
I've always voted for Jesus Christ. He's king, and he's going to come, and he's going to be king of the world.
I will defend Planned Parenthood and am proud to stand with them in the fight they are waging.
In January, the political arm of Planned Parenthood endorsed Hillary Clinton for president, an unprecedented move for the organization, citing the extreme anti-abortion rhetoric from Republican candidates as their reason for getting involved so early in the season.
What I look forward to doing is revealing how radical and out of the mainstream Hillary Clinton is on abortion. Hillary Clinton is a supporter of the idea that partial birth abortion should be a legal thing in this country.
Second thing I intend to do on the first day in office is instruct the U.S. Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and these horrible videos.
So Vicki, this is the first time in Planned Parenthood's history that the group has ever endorsed a candidate in the primary. I'm wondering if you can tell me about the importance of that and how that decision came about.
This election is so important for women's health in general, for women's issues writ large. Mrs. Clinton has been on the forefront of these issues for her entire career, and she was ready with action items and specific follow-up ideas that she intends to pursue.
With Colorado as a swing state and a battleground for women's rights and abortion issues, can you tell me about why Colorado is important when we're thinking about November and the election?
Because we are a very diverse state. We have a lot of Republicans, a lot of Democrats, and a lot of independents. But I think the thing that is most beautiful about Colorado and how deeply purple we are is, as we've seen from the amendments that we've defeated, the Personhood amendments, at their heart, Colorado voters believe that women should make their own decisions about something so personal, so private, and so much about the woman's well-being.
The pro-life community has repeatedly pushed so-called personhood measures which attempt to legally define what makes a person a person. In their book, it begins with the fetus, which would make all abortion illegal across the board. Colorado has been called ground zero for the personhood movement, which means that Planned Parenthood is facing strong opposition not only outside its clinics, but also in the legislature. If the movement is successful here, it could set a precedent for other states. We met up with some volunteers from Planned Parenthood who were lobbying state legislators against these and other restrictive abortion measures.
We wanted to talk to you about the Women's Health Protection Act, which is a trap bill targeted regulation of abortion providers.
So I wanted to talk with you about another trap law that's being proposed. We want you to know that we're together in this, and we really appreciate your vote.
So we wanted to talk to you about the trap bill coming up.
I will be voting with you because I believe in freedom of choice. For many reasons, I have felt this way my whole adult life.
How did it go today?
I think it went well. We mostly spoke with people who support us, which might be beating the drums in the wrong area. I wanted to and hope to speak to someone who's against our stand, and I want to let him know that there are people of faith and there are women who have incredible, difficult, complex health situations which mandate that they get an abortion, and these things are totally ignored, and it's more than offensive. It's just absolutely inhumane.
Yeah, and I would add that I tried to speak to Senator Neville, who's running a bill 1218 to put restrictions or difficulties for women in accessing abortion, and he didn't show. He didn't come out to talk to us. He really needs to hear the other side.
So is that typical that it's difficult for you to access Republican legislators?
Yeah, we have a hard time getting people who sponsor the bills to come to talk to us. We come as a coalition, and we've talked to maybe one person who actually comes off the floor, and we're not an intimidating group. We're just a bunch of volunteers who come here to just have conversation, and it is disappointing when we can't even get them to come off the floor and just talk to us for 5 minutes.
While the Planned Parenthood volunteers weren't able to get a Republican to talk to them, we were able to track down Gordon Klingenschmitt, a representative from Colorado Springs. He was elected with a sweeping majority in his district, one of the most religious in the state. So can you tell me a bit about your stance on abortion and reproductive rights?
Well, I'm against abortion. I think abortion destroys an innocent human life. And so for somebody to come in and say that, well, one person, in this instance, the mother, ought to have a choice, but that baby girl inside of the mother's womb should not be given a choice, I think that's anti-freedom in a sense, because that baby girl is not going to be given a voice, is not going to be given a right to choose to be born. And so somebody's got to be the voice of that child, and somebody's got to advocate for their freedom.
Should there be any exceptions to this, say in cases of rape or incest?
I am entirely mortified when I hear a story of a woman being abused or raped. And I think we should punish the criminal to the maximum extent possible. Now, when you say punish the criminal, you have to define who the criminal is. In many cases, it's a man who abused a woman. But what is this? This baby human is not a criminal and should not be punished. And I know there are people who disagree. The Republican Party is split on that issue. Some Republicans say there should be exceptions for rape and incest. Some Republicans say that it's a human person. So there's division on that, and I guess I fall on the conservative side of that argument.
So are you hopeful and confident that a pro-choice state like Colorado could see further restrictions on abortion and even a personhood law coming into effect in the near future?
I'm hopeful, obviously. You know, all pro-lifers are hopeful to an end to the Holocaust, which has now cost us 57 million American citizens. Nobody wants to fault the innocent, and yet I'm hopeful that sometime down the road we'll stop punishing the babies, which are innocent also.
Perhaps the most controversial point between the pro-choice and pro-life movements is late-term abortion, seen by both sides as the front lines of the debate. The procedure is so politicized and protested that most doctors won't do it. We spoke with Dr. Warren Hearn, one of just 4 doctors in the country willing to perform the procedure, about what he's seen practicing medicine in Colorado and how the results of this election will impact abortion nationwide.
Safe abortion is one of the great public health triumphs of modern history. There's certain people, like the Republicans, who want to take that away. And I think that that is the most dangerous problem, because we have a combination of the radical religious right with the radical political right, trying to put women back to the Dark Ages.
How would you summarize your, prediction for what access to abortion is going to look like in this country in the future, specifically for late-term abortions? What is that going to look like?
It might look a lot like the 19th century. That's what the Republicans want.
What would that mean?
That means women die from having abortions. We go back to the 19th century.
Is there any hope in the upcoming presidential election? Is there a candidate that you think will fight for abortion rights?
Republican candidates are uniformly opposed to abortion service for women. The answer is go to the polls and vote for pro-choice candidates, period. And right now, that means Democrats.
Why is this election in particular so important for women's rights and access to abortion?
Because it's about whether or not people get to live their own lives. It's about how much government intrusion are you willing to tolerate in your very personal life. And so whether this is something that you as an individual have faced or not, what you want to be thinking about is, do you want to live in a country where the government can come right into your deepest, most personal decision making and not just have an influence, but make the decision for you?
Super Tuesday will be the first time that Colorado voters will have to really confront this question in this election, and their answer will help shape the debate nationwide.